Engine room ahead 1/4. Leadsman, sound off. By the mark. Mark 1. That alert calls us to the depth of the marking so we avoid running aground. Engine room ahead 3/4. Leadsman, sound off. Mark 12. Well, you see, Mark Twain is not just the name of our riverboat. It's a boatman's cry to mark the water is 2 fathoms deep. That's 12 feet to you city folk, which is safe passage for a paddle wheel. Mighty clever of that Samuel Clemens to borrow Mark Twain as a pen name. Much like that great American author, Walt Disney was another Missouri storyteller who grew up reading Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn and Benson. This elegant riverboat is a testament to Walt's boyhood dreams. So is the great big waterway, representing the rivers of America. We begin with the on the mighty Mississippi, and south and south down in New Orleans. From Boston Harbor in 1787. Now he rounded the Cape Horn and became the first American ship to carry the stars and stripes around the world. Looks like he's getting ready for a voyage around the rivers of America. Oh boy! There you go. The most famous landmark in this area is Splash Mountain. It's named for the fact that everyone seems to have a splashing good time when they visit. Well, that mountain is just part of the Critter Country, a remote wilderness with tall pine, rustic buildings, backwoods, bayous, and some of those tall hills often here heard along the river. But some folks say the birds and the animals that live here can talk, can sing, and dance. Like I said, just another tall tale. While you're in Critter Country, you might want to grab a paddle, try your hand at David Crockett's Explorer Canoes. You can work up a real sweat throwing one of those around the river. Me, I'll take the comfort of the Mark Twain Riverboat any day.
Come get him, team!
As we head into the remote areas of the rivers of America, you're in for a real treat. I've been navigating these parts for years now, but I'll never get tired of taking the breathtaking view and the the beauty of the Columbia River. It's all so magnificent and so peaceful.
New fellow friend with Holly, and he grew up loving these stories that Walt and Ward had created. So decided to buy the legendary Marie E. to keep that dream alive. You might have heard of him, a gent by the name of John Lasseter.
Should I do wine?
Wine.
Well, here it comes,
And here he is now. Well, isn't this a wonderful surprise? That's John Lasseter himself engineering the Marie E. and towing the historic Chloe, the original locomotive that fueled Walt's dream. This is the first time these locomotives have ever been together. What a historic moment, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, thanks, John, for coming. Did you know that Walt Disney used to slip away from his office and secretly engineer the Disneyland train? Well, he'd be up in the cabin driving the train and the passengers in the back had no idea. Truth is, Walt wanted to share with all those stories of adventures that had made him happy as a child. And now, The return of the Walt's happiest dream, the Disneyland Railroad. Engine room, steam ahead, down the river. As we continue our journey, you can see that wise old shaman over yonder sharing a story for all of us to hear. I like this one.
It's a legend from the Lakota that they have passed down from generation to generation. And there, just beyond the shaman, is a tribe of Plains Indians setting up their camp along the banks of the river. They'll be here for a few months and then move on. Now just across the river, you can see the pirate's lair at Tom Sawyer's Island. We're now heading back into civilization along the Rio Grande. Off in the distance are the towering buttes of Big Thunder Mountain. Rumor has it that the railroad built to haul gold out of the mountain has been seized by supernatural forces, and they've turned that mining train into the wildest ride in the wilderness. Of course, that may just be another legend of the river. Just ahead is Frontier Landing, where our journey ends. Inspiration. On behalf of our entire crew, I'd like to thank you for booking passage on the Mark Twain Riverboat. At this time, you're invited to the promenade deck where you'll be departing. But don't go too far now. because right over in the middle of New Orleans Square, you'll get a chance to chat with some of the creative folks who bring these adventures to life. Thanks again for cruising the river with us on such a wonderful occasion. Hope you'll visit us again real soon. Engine room, approach levee at 1/4 steam. Man the bow line. All passengers stand by to go ashore.
1, 2, 1, 2.